Chapter 1, George and Harold. Meet George Beard and Harold Hudson. George is the kid on the left with the flat top. Harold is the one on the right with the teaser and the bad haircut. Remember that now. George and Harold were best friends. They had one in common. They lived right next door to each other, and they were both in the same fourth grade class at Warren Horwitz Elementary School. George and Harold was usually responsible kids. Whenever anything bad happened, George and Harold were usually responsible. But don't get the wrong idea on these two. George and Harold were actually very nice boys. No matter what everybody else thought, they were good, sweet, and lovable. Well, okay. Maybe they weren't so sweet and lovable, but they were good nonetheless. It's just that George and Harold each had a silly streak, am I wrong? Usually that silly streak was hard to control. Sometimes it got them into big trouble. And once it got them into big trouble. But before I can tell you that story, I have to tell you this story. Chapter 2, Treehouse Comics, Inc. After a hard day of cracking jokes, pulling cranks, and causing mayhem at school, George and Harold walked to the old tree house in George's backyard. Inside the tree house was two big old fluffy chairs, a table, a cupboard crammed with junk food, and a padlocked crate filled with pencils, pens, and stacks of paper. Now, Harold loved to draw, and George loved to make up stories. And together, the two boys spent hours and hours writing and drawing their very own comic books. Over the years, they have created hundreds of their own comics, starring dozens of their own superheroes. First, there was Dogman. Then came Timmy the Talking Toilets. And who could forget the amazing Girl Lady? But the all-time greatest superhero they ever made it up had to be the amazing Captain Underpants. George came up with the idea. Most superheroes look like they're flying around in their underwear, he said. Well, this guy is actually flying around in his underwear. The two boys laughed and laughed. Yeah, said Harold. He could fight with Reggie power, said Harold. George and Harold spent an entire afternoon writing and drawing the comic adventures of Captain Underpants. He was the greatest, coolest superhero. Luckily for the boys, the secretary at Warren Horwitz Elementary School was much too busy to keep an eye on the comic book scene. So whenever they got a chance, Harold and George would sneak into the office and run several hundred copies of the latest Captain Underpants adventure. After school, they sold their homemade comics on the playground for 50 cents each. Chapter 3, The Adventures of Captain Underpants. Written by George Beard, drawn by Harold Hudson. It was a time of darkness and despair for planet Earth. Bad guys had taken over the streets, and all the superheroes in the world were too old to fight evil. Hey! Ha ha! Then along came a new improved extra strength superhero. Tra-la-la! Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's an exoskeleton. No way. I'm Captain Underpants. Captain Underpants was faster than a speeding race band. more powerful than monster swords, and able to leap tall buildings without getting wetty. Chihuahua! Night and day, Captain Underpants watched over the city, fighting for true justice, and for all that we suck in Courtney. Meanwhile, at nearby elementary school, there's stinky taco supplies at the cafeteria. Yuck! Everybody hated it so much, they all flew away. Soon, the cafeteria food came to life. I am the incredible hunk! Then the monster went around the school, eating everything in sight. Months. Help! The edible hunk just ate up 15 folding chairs and the gym teacher. Oh no! Not folding chairs. This was like a job for Captain Underpants. Captain Underpants shot lots of underwear at the monster, but it didn't do any good. Sip, months. So Captain Underpants took off running from the incredible hunk, and it chased him. Gah! Help! And chased him, and chased him. Finally, the incredible hunk got too tired and thirsty to chase Captain Underpants. How about a nice drink of water? So the monster took a long drink from a shiny white bowl. Gulp, gulp, gulp. When suddenly, hooray for Captain Underpants! And so the incredible hunk got flushed away and was never heard from again. Chihuahua, the end. Don't miss our next exciting adventure, Captain Underpants and the Attack of the Talking Toilets, coming soon to a playground near you. Chapter 4, Mean Old Mr. Club. Do you see that old guy looking out the window up there? That's Mr. Club, the principal. Now, Mr. Club was the meanest, sourest old principal in the whole history of Jerome Horwitz Elementary School. He hated laughter and singing. He hated sounds of children playing at recess. In fact, he hated children altogether. And guess which two children Mr. Club hated him most of all? If you guess George and Harold, you're right. Mr. Club hated George and Harold. He hated the pranks and the wise cracks. He hated the silly attitudes and the constant giggling. And he especially hated those awful Captain Underpants comic books.